Okay. Oh, nope. What are we doing here? All right. So we want to go to. All right, here we go. Huh. All right. Du- 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 du. No. Uh, all right. Quick video. All right, so we got some things we need to talk about. So we're gonna talk about the petrodollar today, right? Last video we chopped into some things about NATO. I think it's imperative that we understand the deal that America made with Saudi Arabia. This also is going to kind of like usher you into why the dollar is so important and a plethora of other things, right? Let's get into it real quick. Let's get into a couple of seconds of this video. But I'm about to explain to you why the American dollar is so important. And I'm also going to also tie that into why Iran is bombing their neighbors, which is the GCC, the Gulf Cooperation Council. All right? When I tie into the American dollar, the petrodollar, you're going to see why Saudi Arabia is so important. You're going to see the difference between Iran and why they actually shutting down the Strait of Hormuz. But let's talk about it real quick. Let's make this real quick. Real quick.
Paul Musgrave is Associate Professor of Government at Georgetown University, also in Qatar. And in Saudi Arabia's capital, Riyadh, we have Abdulaziz Al Ghashian, Senior Non-Resident Fellow at the Gulf International Forum. Gentlemen, thank you all for joining us. Some fast-moving developments these last few hours. Faisal, let me start with you. The Iranian strategy now seems to have shifted to targeting the Gulf region's energy assets, not just U.S. assets in the region. Just how dangerous a moment is this in your view?
You know, I think the Iranian government have a disconnection from reality. They live in a bubble, and they think alone, and that's one thing. I want to refer on Araqji interview yesterday when he bombed Oman and bombed Qatar, and then he called the foreign ministers and telling them, well, this order has been done before. So are they working on a will? So my personal observation that there is a disconnection between the political party and the revolution
which is quite concerning, isn't it?
Very concerning, because and again, imagine three layers of leaders has been
decapitated.
Yeah, and then you have maybe the third layers are acting on a reckless. Going back to the energy. Iran have done this during the Iranian.
All right, for the sake of time, let's talk about it. So, what you have right now is you have the RIGC, which is the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. Those are a group of people that was founded after the 1979 Iranian Revolution. So there was a lot of history going on between them and the United States. The United States got involved. You know how things go. They split off into their own revolutionary group. Right now, the man that you're talking to, he's a member of the GCC. This is the Gulf Cooperation Council. This is who we are in partnership with, those of the petrodollar. So now I'm going to bring clarity on why you have Iran bombing their neighbors. First of all, what we have to understand is that before we had the petrodollar, America was basically had gold back money. Meaning that back in that time, you wasn't able to print no money unless you had gold to back it up. All right, and if you wanted to print more money, you had to sell off a percentage of your gold. Okay, this was called the gold standard. All right, August 15th, 1970, 1971, August 15th, 1971, Nixon, he said, yo, look, this is what we're going to do. We're going to stop the amalgamation of the American dollar with gold. We're going to separate it. Now, with this being happened, I'm going to give you a short synopsis. I'm not trying to go too deep into it. This made the dollar a little bit vulnerable, right? So now, what America had to do was, and I'm going to tie all this into what's happening on the Strait of Hormuz. Okay? I'm not the smartest person in the world. I'm not the dumbest person in the world, but one of my expertise is I know how to connect the dots. Okay? So when you're talking about the Strait of Hormuz, this is what you have to understand. Why are they cutting off the oil? So after Nixon said, hey, listen, we're going to stop the gold-based dollar, the gold-backed dollar. Meaning at one point in time, of course, we know the dollar was backed by gold. We stopped that. This was called the Nixon shock. Look it up. So now this left the dollar a little bit more vulnerable. So what tends to happen is that 4 years from that, America made a deal with Saudi Arabia. The deal with Saudi Arabia was, listen, we're going to buy your oil with American dollars. Okay? And then everybody else that wants to buy your oil, they have to pay for it in American dollars. All right? So this is how the dollar became strong today. This is the inception and the prerequisite steps to sanctioning countries. Now, the crucial part about it is that, so now that all the other countries can't buy their oil outside of the American dollar, what is Saudi Arabia or the GCC, the Gulf Cooperation Council, what are they doing with the profits? Let me tell you what they're doing with the profits. This is very important. Check this. They're taking those profits and they're invested into treasury bonds. What are treasury bonds? Is when you lend the United States money and then they give you an interest, a promise on an interest, and that interest will be the bond. This is no different than tax liens, tax deeds, just a different kind of formation. No different than dividends or anything, just different, just a different sector. So now we have a cycle going on. The American dollar became so powerful because they went to Saudi Arabia and said, hey, listen, we will offer you protection. We will protect your interests. But in return, we're going to buy your oil in American dollars. And then everybody else you sell oil to, they have to pay American dollars. So now what does this mean? Why is this important? Fight night. Why the hell are you telling us this? Well, because this actually is an incentive for people to buy American dollars so they can purchase oil. This is very important. So now, the IRGC, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, they're bombing the GCC because they understand if they can stop the GCC, they can stop our economic flow. We are very tied to Saudi Arabia. Just imagine this. Let's take a second and think here real quick. The deal that America has with Saudi Arabia is the reason why the dollar is so potent. So then now you have to ask, okay, well, why is Iran bombing their neighbors, the GCC? And then also, why are they shutting down the Strait of Hormuz? Because the whole goal is this. They can't really outgun us. So what they can do is try to cripple the economy. But of course, I said in my previous video that President Trump, he had prerequisite steps, maybe, to deal with that situation. We'll see how it turns out. Time is the biggest snitch in the world. Time tells on everybody. Okay, we don't even really have to go crazy. We just have to let time do its thing. Last thing you want to do is go to court and put time on the stand. Time will tell everybody's business. Okay, all you got to do is let time do its thing. So now, I want to bring clarity on why Iran is bombing their neighbors, bombing the GCC. Because understand something. all the profits that they're making for selling oil to every other country in American dollars, they're reinvesting those profits in the treasury bonds. So it's like a cycle that goes on. And one thing I got to give credit to America, I would say this: America is very strategic, very masterful in their strategicness. If America was a zodiac sign, they would have to be a Capricorn / Gemini. They would have to be one. They would have to be one. I don't know how to make that more simple. I know everybody might have their own opinion on it, but the whole deal was masterful. And because of that deal, this is the reason why Iran is attacking the GCC. The GCC didn't do nothing to Iran, but they understand if I'm sorry, I messed that. The GCC didn't do nothing to Iran, but if Iran can shut down the GCC, they can also shut down our economy. Mind you, they sell everybody's oil in American. You have to have American dollars to buy their oil. So if you shut them down, you're basically shutting down the economy of America, because economy of America is based upon that deal we made with Saudi Arabia, which is the head of the GCC, okay, and they are the reason why our dollar is the way it is today due to the deal we made. So I want to bring clarity on that. They're not just making arbitrary attacks. They're not just going crazy saying, hey, we're just going to bomb people. They know exactly what they're doing. If you stop Saudi Arabia, you're going to also impede on the growth of the petrodollar. This is why you have the BRICS nations. Everybody's kind of like getting into this. They're saying, you know what, the BRICS nations, they already expressed their views on the dollar and how they want to start doing their own commerce amongst themselves. They say, hey, we want to buy oil without having to use the American dollar. So America right now has a lot of threats because they're saying to themselves, well, listen, if you're going to sell oil in American dollars, then that means we have to buy American dollars. If they want to sanction us, they can cut us off from SWIFT, meaning that we can't get American dollars and we can't buy oil. In terms we call weaponizing the dollar. So not to get too deep, not to go too crazy, not to jump way off the left end, but the point of the video is we want to understand why people do what they do. I don't like arbitrary thinking. I don't like guessing. And I don't like speculation. I got to know what the fuck is going on, or I'm just going to deem it as speculation and I won't talk about it. So, Iran. Why the hell are they bombing it? And let me tell you something. Let me be honest with you real quick. Iran has a better shot at attacking the GCC than they do at going at America head on. Because if they was to find a way to destroy the GCC, the whole petrodollar deal will be done. The dollar would take a big hit. And sometimes blowing up shit is not the best way to go. Sometimes the best way to go is destroying somebody's economy. You see what I'm trying to say? So, that's why they're bombing their neighbors. Poor guys got caught up in the point of contention. They got caught up in the conflict. Without the GCC, where would America's economy be? Where would it be? After Nixon separated the American dollar from back gold, the dollar didn't mean anything. They had to tie it to something else. They had to tie it to gold. They had to tie it to oil. 3 years later, they go to Saudi Arabia. They say, listen, we'll offer you protection, military, but you got to make sure that nobody buys this oil without American dollars. So that's how the American dollar became powerful today. And that's why it's in their best benefit, and why they're trying to do is destroy or slow down or impede on the success of the GCC, because they understand that all the profits that they make selling everybody else oil, they also take them profits and they invest in treasury bonds in the United States of America. This is how we're so powerful. And then they take those profits and they invest it into the military. So this is the strategic part of the war. Some people can get lost with the blowing up stuff and all the aircrafts and everything like that, but there's a deeper understanding on that. You shut down the Strait of Hormuz, you shut down the GCC, the only option that they have is to try to kill America's economy. Because without the economy, they can't pay for all these goddamn missiles that they dropping. Every time America drops some missiles, you're talking about $1 million plus. And that's being conservative. It's probably $2 to $3 million plus, right? So their best shot is to destroy the economy. So anyway, wrapping that up, just to give y'all something quick. Of course, I got to go eat, and I want to leave you guys with that. There's a lot more I could have said, but just to give you a short synopsis, Just really wanted to break down because most people see things and they think they're just arbitrary decisions, but there's a method behind every madness. They have to destroy the GCC because, truth be told, the GCC is responsible for all the wealth that we have in America today. And if you don't believe me, look it up and let me know. I could be wrong, and it's never like I've been wrong before. But even if I was wrong, I would be right because I said I could have been wrong. Anyway, thank you so much, and that is the end.